Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with Homebrew Fever Dreams Reviews, and we've got RuinQueenofOblivion's Oath of the Night Hunter Paladin. Well, here's my latest subclass from me in the Bearded Russian, as always. This time we have a paladin based around monster hunting, more specifically vampires and demons, and the such. Undead, demons, devils, all the good stuff. Oath of the Night Hunter, like a few of my subclass ideas, exists because of a character I made. In this case, a celestial warlock from a family of vampire hunters. Her father had turned himself into a vampire to escape a wasting curse, which had the gods turn their back on her. Your character, not... I mean, obviously the gods have turned their back on the father. Oh, that's harsh. The idea was that as her story finished, Curse of Strahd campaign, of course, she would change classes to Paladin. So I made a subclass for her based around the idea of vampire hunters and monster hunters in general. It brings to mind Vampire Hunter D, the old manga and anime from the 80s, yeah? The other idea that this was based around was an old saying that has sort of a confusing origin, but it is likely Chinese or from a preacher in 1907. That is very specifically obscure. It's one or the other, 100%. Listen, either you're being haunted by a demon, or the food I ate last night is giving me food poisoning. It's one of the two. We'll find out. Okay, here's the quote. It is better to shine... Again. It is better to light a single candle than to curse the darkness. Which is profound. It is saying cursing the darkness doesn't help anybody, right? Just like, why is it so dark? Gosh darn it. But lighting a candle helps yourself. It helps push back the darkness. It allows people to see it's helpful. It's useful. That's a good one. Gosh, it is so interesting where all those little sayings and proverbs come from in our modern world. But some of them probably go back literally millennia. You got to think about that. Humans have probably been saying some of these little, stuff from the Bible, but obviously from Eastern culture, from other religions, Hindus, Judaism. Like a lot of this stuff goes back millennia. Before English, the languages we speak now, were even languages. That's kind of crazy. I themed the subclass around this idea, making those who take the oath the single candle that stands against the darkness. Another one of my friends also wants to use it in a campaign, so that's cool. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? I hope you all like it as much as we do. Oh yeah. Edit. I forgot to mention the origins, the name's origin. The character in the Oath of the Night Hunter has a lot of its roots in Castlevania and the Belmont family. Yes. Thinking Vampire Hunter D, but yeah, I could see Castlevania, which I think maybe even predates. Gosh, when did the original Castlevania game come out? Like early, mid 80s? I bet you they're right there around each other. Oh gosh, I wonder if one inspired the other. Because I bet you the manga for Vampire Hunter D was right around when the original Castlevania dropped on Super Nintendo? Gosh darn. I don't even know. It might have been a Nintendo game. Okay, I'm sorry. So I picked the name as a reference to the line, "The Belmonts will hunt the night," from Castlevania. Okay, here we go. Oath of the Night Hunter. More colloquially known as demon slayers or night exorcists, this oath has traditionally been taken by those who are called to confront and hunt that which goes bump in the night. Most often servants of entities that hold light, protection, or battle in their portfolios, these paladins take it upon themselves to venture into places that others fear to tread, looking death and corruption squarely in the face. Whether literally or figuratively, they always seek to bring light to the darkness and reckoning to evil. Tenets of the Hunter. The tenets of the Night Hunter have been passed down by sacred orders and vigilante groups both, continuing their vigil and watch over that which most mortals flee. I like that. I like the idea that it can just be non-deity-fueled vigilante groups. Just regular citizens, regular peasants. But they live in a land that, say, borders a bog or a forest where the undead are known to dwell and dead creatures will wake up. And so, grandfathers to, daughters, and daughters to sons, they've passed down the rules of what to do, the best way to fight them, what to look for to protect themselves against a werewolf curse, of a known vampire that goes dormant, things like that. So it doesn't just have to be mighty, beefy, heroic paladins. It can just be common folk who keep this tradition alive. And then some of those that adhere to these tenets are gained the blessings of a deity to become extremely powerful paladins. Very cool. A candle against the dark. It is your duty to venture into the darkness, but only that you might bring hope and protection to others. Meaning that it's not done for glory. It's not done for gold. Yeah. It makes sense because when you delve into very dark things and powerful things, it could corrupt many a character. So the idea that there's one reason only, and that is to hope and protection, those positive things. It's not for yourself. Don't delve too deeply, that kind of thing. A shield against evil, where innocence would fall victim to the forces of the hells or undeath, is where your duty lies, interposing yourself between them. Okay, that absolutely makes sense. You must protect innocence. I think that's probably important as well, because it's that idea of ends justify the means. Not in this case. The innocent come before the ends. It's clearly stated in the oath. And, there's always that thing of like, well, the disease is spreading. We'll just burn this village to the ground to keep these people from all becoming zombies or food or thralls to the vampire spawn. It's like, no. No one gets stepped on. We save everyone we can. It's very heroic. And finally, the third part of the tenets of the hunter, a weapon against profanity. Your call is not a passive one. Where fiends or undead make themselves known, you must hunt tirelessly and eradicate completely. There's a lot of roleplay in here, definitely, because that one means you cannot stand by and say, oh, well, that vampire spawn has a bit of good left in them. Maybe we can bring them back to the light. We'll give them leniency now in the hopes of recovering them later. No. The final tenet of the hunter here is, there is no quarter given. Total extermination. No mercy. There are no good ones. You finish them all every time. No exceptions. It's pretty potent stuff. A lot of role play in there. And it's always appropriate with paladins, because paladins have the trope of the lawful stupid. Not that I think all hunters would be necessarily lawful good, but when you assign yourself one of these oaths, it really holds you to some pretty extreme positions. In this case, there are no exceptions. We destroy all undead. Yeah, there's some role play in there. Try not to annoy your DM or the other party members, please. Whenever you play a paladin, I'm begging you. Here's your spells. Third level paladin spells: Divine Favor, Protection from Evil and Good. So Divine Favor is kind of a must go to. If you're a paladin, you want to have that Divine Favor, because it's a 1d4 extra radiant damage. It's just a damage bonus to any attack you land, and I think it's a bonus action. Does it take concentration? Shoot. Ooh, gosh. I mean, it's nice that it's a bonus action, because you always want to know what you can cast. Make your attack with your action and then also cast as a bonus action. You want to have those spells in the back of your mind for when you're fighting. What is it? Concentration. Hold on. This actually is pretty important, because this is a great spell to have. It's just a straight damage buff. And if you're fighting against creatures that are vulnerable to radiant damage, it's going to really help out. It is concentration, up to a minute. So would you use it all the time? Obviously, Bless is a huge one. I could see doing that a lot. But you're going to want it. Protection from evil and good. Obviously, gosh, protection from evil and good is so nice, because it can be upcast as you get more powerful to protect, 1, 2, 3, the whole party eventually, if you use a big enough slot. And it's going to I mean, it's a must-have, because if you're, say, fighting undead, you can grant disadvantage to all undead that are attacking the protected creature, or characters, we'll say, your party members. So when you have that, yeah, you can turn yourself into an unstoppable fighting force. You buff 2, 3, or 4 of your party members with protection against evil, against undead, or say demons if you're hunting demons. And then they also can't possess you. There's the big 3: charm, possession, fear, frighten. Yes, that's probably concentration as well. Paladins are kind of, medium casters. They got to concentrate on almost everything, but yeah, take it. Okay, 5th level, see invisibility. Yeah, gosh, would that be that handy? Sorry. It's always tricky with sight stuff, because some DMs are so casual about, dark vision, night vision, who can see how far, lighting sources, invisibility. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure there are many demons and undead, ghosts in particular, race that can become invisible. So, and invisibility lets you see into the astral ether. Right? Invisibility lets you see, because you can see ghosts, but because ghosts can transfer between the astral and the ethereal. Sorry. The ethereal plane, is just, right outside of our plane of existence. So, there could be, a ghost in the ethereal, right behind me. And I wouldn't notice it. And then it can just come through and just make that little shift over. So I think see invisible lets you see into the ethereal. So, yeah. If you're looking for creatures that are hiding, that's a really good idea. Ghosts in general. Moonbeam. Moonbeam's a must-have. It's a great way to deal AoE radiant damage. I know the area's not that big. It's like it's a 10 foot? Yeah. I'm always drawing it. It's a 5 foot radius, so a cylinder, but 10 feet wide. So it's great for blocking doorways if you're in small confined areas. But you do have to move it. You have to keep using your action to get it on top of enemies. And the other thing that Moonbeam does is, what does it do? It for werewolves, won't it turn a werewolf back into its human form? Or is that for anything? Yeah. Polymorph? Druids? Anyone that's shape changed. I'm thinking of shapeshifters, as I thought werewolves. Any shape-shifted creature that gets stuck in the Moonbeam, I don't know if they probably get a saving throw, but you can revert shape-shifted creatures back to their true form. That's got to be really handy. So, interestingly, what Rune Queen is providing us with here is literally the weaponry to fight and handle these monsters. It's a monster hunter. So, yes, the theme is right there in the spells, folks. Okay. Invisibility and Moonbeam both have capabilities beyond just their general function. Their dual function, at least. Protection from good and evil, divine favor. Divine favor is good. You would take it. You would take it for sure. But again, blessing's good. All right, 9th level, Daylight in Intellect Fortress. That is Tasha's Cauldron? Crap. All right, well, Daylight's just Daylight. Massive Daylight. It's very powerful. I know Daylight can turn back darkness, right? It can cancel darkness if it's equal third level spell or lower. It will blot that out. It'll clear it out if it touches it anywhere. Obviously, you can cast Daylight on an item and move it around with you, like it's a torch. Out to a 60-foot radius, 120. Is it 120 or 60? It's massive. The range of what you can light up is huge. Big area. I'm trying to think if Daylight has any other features though. I don't think. Well, against Drow, I guess it would probably give them disadvantage. So Drow aren't really monsters, but yeah. Okay, Intellect Fortress is, I don't know that one. It's a spell out of one of the other books. Tasha's Mordenkainen's. I don't know where it comes from. I'm guessing it gives you advantage on saving throws for intellect, maybe intellect wisdom or something like that. Yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't have a way to look it up without getting online, so I'm gonna have to pass on that. But yes, I assume it fortifies the mind of the hunter against. Yeah, that would make sense. Gives them resistance to things that would alter their mind, take them over, possession, that kind of stuff. If I had to guess. Okay, 13th level. Locate creature. That is just an awesome... I mean, it's like for like rangers and everything else. I don't know what the range is on it. Probably like a mile. It's got to be a pretty good distance. But you can just locate a creature you're familiar with. So, is it specific or non-specific? Like, so say you were looking for vampires. Would it just show you every vampire within a mile of you? Or every vampire spawn? Or could you do specific ones? I don't know. Either way it would work, though. Unless you're in a completely infested area. But if you're a hunter, you're going to want to get them all. So you'd be like, yeah, I want to locate any vampires around. You go for them. So yes, it's a monster hunter thing. It literally lets you track them down pretty easily. I'm sure there's some sort of rule there. Oh, no. It is... I was thinking about lead. Because lead shields a lot of things, like a thin layer of lead. But that's not it. It is the vampire one about running water. You guys have to read the locate creature. I know that running water will cancel it. Gosh, why is that? Is that vampire related? Shoot. Okay. The locate creature has other parts to it, though. So again, read up on that because, I mean, obviously it's super obscure, but there's more to it than just being able to locate a creature. Banishment is super useful in combat and even out of combat. So in combat, it just temporarily, God, what's the word for it? It puts people in like I was thinking of oubliette, like a bag of holding. Essentially, you can if the creature fails their save on banishment, you just pluck them out of this existence and you imprison them temporarily for as long as the spell lasts, which I think is like a minute, 10 minutes. No, it's not 10. Combat could end and a creature could pop out of there. Obviously they get a saving throw, but I know against like elementals or creatures that are on another plane of existence, banishment permanently banishes them. Like they're gone. Just you send them back. So for fiends, you send them back to the plane they came from. I don't know how quickly they can return, but I don't think it's instant. I think they have to find a way back. So it's a very good way. It's not going to do so much against undead because undead are native to the prime material plane. But for the fiends, it's going to be super helpful. Even really, really powerful ones. I mean, again, they get a save, but if they fail, you just can take a CR 11, demon and just push them off the board. It might even be worth trying it more than once if you fail the first time. You don't banish them on the first one. Try again. I don't think they gain resistance to it. I think you can just hit them with it over and over till you banish them, I think. Okay. And finally, your big ones are Hallow and Dawn. Dawn is beefed up Moonbeam, right? It's just more damage. You move it around, bzz, bzz, and I think it's physically. I think it does more damage and it's physically a lot bigger. I don't know how big, probably 20, 30 feet across, double, maybe more. But it's beefed up Moonbeam. Okay. The only good thing about the Dawn is that it is an AoE because it affects everyone that's in there. It is big. It is a big area. It's like 30 foot across. So you could take out, literally, you could hit a half a dozen to a dozen undead if they were concentrated together with it all at once. So in that sense, and it's persistent. So it's like a big persistent AoE. Yeah, that's a good spell. That is actually a really powerful spell. And I think it puts... I think beyond just light, I think it is sunlight. So creatures that are vulnerable to specifically true sunlight, I think it is true sunlight. Okay. Hallow is an amazing spell. The thing with Hallow, because Hallow is just lasts. It is there until it is magically removed. It's one of those ones where you don't concentrate. You hallow something, but it takes a long time. I think it's an hour. It could be 10 hours. It's one of the really long spell casts in the game, though. Like, it is not... If you were going to defend a church, a tower, a shrine, a natural spring in the forest where healing water comes out, a tree, like an oak tree, I'm thinking, helping the druids or the dryads or something, you can hallow ground over, not a huge area, but probably 100 feet, 60 feet range, 120, somewhere in there. So it's a chunk, like it would cover a house or a church or a tree. It keeps Fae. I think you get to choose. No, I think you can exclude. It's like celestial, Fae, undead. It's got the big 6 aberrations, whatever. They cannot go into the area. It's not one of those things where they can like go in. They can try to go in and then make a save throw to see if they can. It's like no, they just cannot get in. They can't just bump against it again and again. So you could hold off a army of undead skeletons with this. 1,000 of them wouldn't be able to get in there. So it's really, really powerful that way. But it does require that you plan in advance, because it is, again, I think it's an hour or 10 hours to cast it. I don't know. But once you do it, it's... I don't think anyone inside of there is... I think they're protected from the big 3: charm, possession, fear. So, I'm trying to think if it confers anything else. Bear in mind that the enemies you're keeping out with Hallow, whether it's angels or it's demons, whoever the Hallow's working against, they can still shoot things into there. They can still target you inside. So they could shoot arrows in there, probably fireballs. So it doesn't completely protect everything, but it's a super powerful spell, appropriately so. This is super long. We're 22 minutes into this. I am just... When you take this to the 3rd level, you gain the following 2 channel divinity options. Dawn's Guard. As an action, you can present your holy symbol to shield the vulnerable from corruption, expending your channel divinity. Select creatures within 30 feet of you up to a number equal to your charisma modifier. Okay, so it's going to be 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Those creatures are treated as though under the effects of protection from evil and good until the end of your next turn. Oh, that's not very long. But you don't have to concentrate on it. I don't know about that one, Rune Queen. I mean, I like the flavor of it. It just... Your channel divinities... You've got very few of them, right? You get like 2 of them. Maybe you go up to 3 eventually. I like this idea that like you can protect a small family or a good chunk of your party, but you can do that with protection from good and evil anyway at higher levels. I guess that's where it kind of loses its effect. Is as you get to higher levels, you could upcast it and protect 3, 4, or 5 creatures with it anyway. Gosh. So it will become irrelevant at some point, is my point. The difference is that it doesn't require concentration, so it could be situational. But can you make that 1 minute? Is that too much? Ugh. It might be too much. But it is a channel divinity. You're burning a channel. I think you should get a lot for it. Dawn's Guard works well because you gain it at 3rd level, so you're already able to protect people right away. I like that, but then it's just going to be gone at the end of the next turn. It's just a brief moment of respite is really what it means, allowing your party to gain the upper hand. How about this? The number of creatures you could protect are equal to your Paladin level. Why? Because at 3rd level, it lets you protect 3 creatures. So you're gaining the effect of being able to protect multiple creatures roughly equal to what it can do as it's written right now. And then that'll go to 4th and 5th and 6th as you go up. Eventually, you can protect a small village with it, right? Squad of troops, you can protect, 15, 18, 20 targets with it, but it only lasts till the end of your next turn. So it essentially, if you make that change, it scales as you scale. So it's always more powerful with each level as opposed to becoming irrelevant. If you're 18th level, you're going to burn your channel divinity doing that, or you're going to burn one of your 6th level spell slots to do it and do it even better potentially. Yeah. Okay. Pursuer steps. As a bonus action on your turn, you can focus your powers to improve your ability to hunt your prey wherever they dwell. For the next 10 minutes, you can choose to use your charisma modifier in place of your normal ability modifier for checks you make with the acrobatics, athletics, and stealth skills. Additionally, you can ignore effects that would impose disadvantage on such skill checks for the duration. Oh. So I like this. I like the 10-minute duration. And ultimately, it's just saying your charisma modifier, which again is going to be 3, 4, or 5, replaces the ability modifiers for the following. Acrobatics, which is dex. Athletics would be strength. Stealth would be dex. So Paladin's probably going to have a decent strength already as far as the athletics go, but definitely for acrobatics and stealth skills, it would be helpful. I think that's pretty good. I like that it does last for 10 minutes. Obviously, it doesn't require concentration. So if the hunter knows it's go time, we're delving into the castle, we're going to go into the dungeon, we're going into the graveyard now. For the next 10 minutes, we're going to be up to our elbows in fiends and undead. I think that's pretty cool. You don't mention, though, if it burns the divinity. I think you should probably specify that it expends the divinity channel. I mean, it does, right? It's a channel divinity. I don't think you get it free. I really like that you can trigger it as a bonus action, so you're not wasting your attack roll to do it. But, yeah, I would put in there that it does consume a divinity, or a channel divinity. Okay. Aura of Clarity. Starting at 7th level, your conviction to shed light on evil manifests physically. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you are granted dark vision to a range of 120 feet. That's good distance. If a creature with dark vision would benefit from this aura, the range of their dark vision instead increases by 60 feet, so out to 180. That's the longest dark vision in the game. Dark vision granted by this ability can penetrate magical darkness. That's nice. Okay, that's really good. As long as it was created by a spell or effect of a level no greater than half your paladin level rounded down. Yeah. So by the time you're reaching level 18, there is no magical darkness, short of a deity creating it, that you can't see through. Even a 9th level casting wouldn't. You'd be like, no, I can still see you. I can still see you there. Beelzebubbles. Yeah, I gotcha. That's really cool. At 18th level, the range of the aura is increases to 30 feet. Increases by 30 feet? No, the aura. Sorry. A 10-foot aura to start with, and at 18 it goes to 30 foot, which I think is standard for most of the paladin auras. Listen, that's not OP, because it's certainly situational, as we mentioned earlier, maybe, that some DMs don't think about vision stuff and all that, but the fact that it can see through magical darkness would be pretty solid. Especially if you have someone on your squad that can cast darkness on everyone else. Ooh, yeah, you could do some real good synergies for your group that way, using magical darkness when you can all see out of it. That's nice. Okay, the light of truth. Starting at 15th level, you are such a bane to evil, the evil and deceitful, that your very presence burns away their lies. You're immune to illusion spells and effects. Illusion spells. All. Illusion spells and effects unless you wish to be affected. I wonder why you'd wish to be affected. Maybe if you wanted to hear a beautiful song, maybe. Okay. As long as the spell or effect is of a level no greater than half your paladin level rounded down. Additionally, you are instantly aware of any object or creature you can see within 30 feet of you that is not in its true form. Oh, I like that. Oh, it's almost a shame you get that so late. Like, you're a pretty powerful paladin at that point. But let's see here. Illusion spells are like invisibility's illusion. So you can just see invisible creatures all the time. Illusions do not work against you. Just, and again, because it's half your paladin level rounded down, by the time you hit level 18, nothing but a deity could possibly stay hidden from you, from your sight. You just, okay. You can't be tricked. All the normal things that demons and monsters would try and pull on you just don't work. Okay, effects as well. Additionally, you're instantly aware of any object or creature you can see within 30 feet that is not in its true form. Now, I like that flavor of that, the way you wrote that, because it doesn't say that you can see what their true form is. You're only aware that they are not in their true form. So when there is a demon or devil masquerading as the town priest, like they do, you know there's something wrong. You might not know exactly what, but you're like, that ain't a priest. That's something evil in disguise. It's not true sight. It's adjacent to true sight, just slightly watered down. But yeah, that is very cool. It ties into the genre very nicely. And finally, the capstone here. Gosh, this got long. Thank you. Paragon of the Hunt. At 20th level, you become an avatar of the hunt itself, a beacon of hope for those lost in darkness, and a death knell for those who thrive in it. As a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Your movement speed increases by 10. Creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you gain the benefits of your Light of Truth ability. See above. Okay. You make damage rolls for spells and attacks against fiends and undead with advantage. Oh my gosh. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Wow, that is a capstone. Oh my gosh, it's so sad you get that at 20th level, because this, I was sure it was like an 18th level capstone or something. That is beefy. It's 1 minute of kick-ass. Bonus action to cast, so you just get it. You're not burning up your action. You got 1 minute, which is essentially long enough for any fight. I like the idea that your entire party benefits from the Light of Truth ability, just to keep them illusions from working on them. Just the whole group, everyone. Your choice, creatures of your choice, and you could do that for an entire town. Oh my gosh, you could walk into the town or the king's chamber where everyone's assembled, all the councilmen and the nobles and the guards, and the king or queen is a devil in disguise, and you could let out that aura to everyone, and everyone would the illusion would fade for everyone. A lot of roleplay potential there. The 10 foot of movement is just nice. It just gets you mobile on the battlefield, or if you're pursuing an enemy. And then obviously damage rolls. Your damage rolls for spells and attacks against fiends and undead. Sorry. You make damage rolls for spells and attacks against fiends and undead with advantage. Should that be attack rolls? Sorry. Just a little correct there, I think. I think it should read, you make attack rolls for spells and attacks. God, what is it? To hit rolls? It's not a damage roll. Damage rolls like to roll the damage dice, right? Sorry, I just want to make sure. I get what you're saying, but I would say that's not clear. You make to hit rolls for spells and attacks against fiends and undead with advantage, not damage rolls. Am I overthinking it? Okay. That's a long video. If you guys got through it, thank you so much. I'm just sleepy this morning. I don't know why. Gosh, that was long. Really enjoyed the class, though. Balance, if anything, underpowered. Honestly, I'd say it's like a B+ on the power ranking, as opposed to like an A, which to me is like an even. I think you're a tick or two below average power level for the subclass. So it's interesting because this is not a class about damage dealing. Like, this is not I kill better. It's like, no, I have all the skills and abilities to allow me to counteract monsters, to protect myself from them, to see through their deceptions, to locate them and to reveal them for what they are. So in that sense, I think you got to be pretty committed to the role play if you go with this. You know me, I don't like worship at the feet of doing more damage. So I think it's a great class, ultimately. I think the theme is A+. We spent so much time talking about the spells for the subclass, but you kind of picked every single one of them to play into the theme. It wasn't willy-nilly at all. It was very thematic, which I really like. I think the fun of playing this class would be massive. I'm a huge Paladin fan, but for people who don't want to play that squeaky clean Paladin and want to get a little more gritty, like to me, I think like The Witcher. I'm not a huge Witcher fan, so I don't want to pretend I know everything, but like just that guy who's like the good guy who's out there fighting the hard fight, but isn't like all squeaky clean, polishing his gleaming armor. That is not this character at all. Now, listen, are they maniacal in their pursuit of the undead? Ruthless in their extermination of them? Yes. But that just lends itself. So if you want to play a paladin, you've never gotten around to playing it because you think, oh, they're lawful stupid. I think you could play a chaotic good. I think you could play a true neutral, potentially, with this. As long as you stick to that oath. Yeah. You're not the good guy. You aren't out there you aren't healing the crippled. You're just hunting the undead. And you will protect anyone who's threatened by them. Yeah. You got it all. At any rate. Thank you so much anyone stuck with me. Thank you, Rune Queen, for waiting so long for me to get to this. I appreciate it.